Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Ellie and I just decided to make a video on sharing my journey from finally being a fiance to soon to be a bride in 3.5 months. So, funny story. I think I'll be sharing more along the way, but he finally proposed to me on April 10th, 2021. Probably 7 p.m. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know the exact time. Well, I do because I have my phone, but he proposed to me at Puerto Vallarta. We go at least once or twice a year because we just love that place. And he brought me a mariachi because your girl loves mariachi. And, we were like with our closest friends and it was just like bon appetito. Worth the wait. Worth the five years? I've been with this man since 2016, okay? I've waited my time. But anyways, so after that, everybody's like, wee, like, oh my god, it's wedding time. And I'm over here like, hell yeah, banda, mariachi, and tacos, lo que caiga, whatever. But until you start actually planning, you're kind of like, oh damn, like, weddings are expensive. But, ever since I was little, I didn't get a quinceañera, okay? So I knew. I was like, girl, we are going out, all out. Vamos a tirar la casa por la ventana. For those that don't know, like my fiance was like, what are you talking about? Tirar la casa por la ventana means like throw a big ass party, like a invitar al tío, al tía, al vecino, like everybody. Until you see how much you're paying for guests, you kind of like, we got engaged. And then after, everyone's telling you kind of like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. Oh, no, don't do that. And it's like, it can get overwhelming to say the least, but I think if anything, you just have to be very open-minded to hear people's opinions in a sense, because they can tell you something that you didn't even think about before. At least that's the way that I was trying to like handle it or whatever. We both love beach. We go at least once a year to Puerto Vallarta or just any beach we can. I'm a baller on a budget, okay? Me gusta lo bonito y lo barato, which means I like nice and cheap. I am cheap. Only on myself. Not on like spending with others and stuff. Very early on I knew I was like, I'm not trying to spend 100K. It just, to me, if you have the money, by all means do as you please. But to me it's just not reasonable because I don't know. It just doesn't fit with us. So we set our budget. I think that's the thing that I was hearing from everybody. Set a budget and go off with that. Now that everybody's getting engaged, it's kind of like everyone tells you like, oh no, set a realistic budget, because things can get more expensive. And I do think that's true, but it's also, if you really are set on that budget, then you're gonna have to make it work. Like, there's gonna be certain things that you're going to have to cut if you're like serious about that. If you can wiggle around a little bit, then do you. So in 2021, the love grew in everybody. I think it was mostly because I feel like men or women realize like, oh my god, I can actually deal with you during a pandemic, like, that it's meant to be, which was awesome. I love, but then it kind of was like, oh damn, everybody's getting married. So I don't know if that's what really raised up the prices, obviously, right? Like the what is it called? Popular demand or whatever. That was like kind of like put a little boost to me, like, okay, well, if you're gonna get married 2021 or 2022 or 2023, whatever it is, you gotta like get to it. We actually scheduled to see, it was like a ballroom in Glendale. And I had seen pictures. I was so excited. I get there, don't get me wrong, it was beautiful. Like the place was huge. There was like mirrors, like the lights even turned and everything. But the one thing, and don't ever ignore your gut feeling, I just didn't get that like, oh my god, I don't know why. The second thing was the carpet. Oh my god, I could not stand the carpet. Like, that's the first thing. The guy came, he was super sweet. He was like, oh hi, congratulations. Everybody congratulates you when you're engaged, and it makes me feel so special. So he's like congratulating us, and I'm like, oh, can we take out the carpet? Like, ni los buenos días, like I was just like, he was like, well, you can, but it would be for an additional cost. You can do anything you want as long as you have the money for it, apparently. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll talk about that. So pretty much, long story short, the cheapest we can get it, cheapest, on a Thursday was like 23 grand. Even if, say like I wanted to deduct the guest list to like kind of make it more affordable price, you couldn't. You had to meet that 23,000 in order to book the venue. You gotta fake it a little bit, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll think about it. Me and my fiance's looking at me like, yeah, that's fine, we'll just take the binder. And as soon as we walked out, I was like, no, hell no, you're not about to see me spend 23 grand. That was just the venue. I mean, it did have like open bar. Like, the thing is, you had different selections in order to complete the 23, but no. I still had to get my dress. I still had to like, get the decor for the tables and stuff. So I was like, no. I have my little handy mandy notebook here. It's a planner. Yeah, it's a planner, but I started using it. I just started jotting ideas and it just became like everything. Like, I have like my bridal trial, like what I needed to talk to the lady about, the decorist, but we'll get into that later. The food and dessert, I have a whole thing in bobber because that's essential. Luxurious hotel at Cabo, and the rental fee was not expensive. It was like $2,000 for, I forgot how many guests, but point is, you had to have at least 10% of your total guest count stay at the hotel, and the hotel was not that cheap. It was like $600 a night. Dollars, not pesos, dollars. So me being the optimistic person that I am, I was like, yes, like we're set, like this is it. And then I talked to my mom. My mom's like, are you crazy? Not in a mean way, but she was like, that's a lot of money, like for everybody else. And even my fiance was telling me, where like he had to burst my bubble, and I respect that because I was like floating. I wasn't thinking about, I don't know, like, it's not that I wasn't thinking about everybody else, but I was like, oh, like, it's gonna be a great time. The hotel was beautiful. I was like, we'll just tell our cousins to do it, But he was like, no, that's kind of messed up. They're already, because we decided destination. As soon as we were looking at all the prices in LA, we looked at ballrooms, we looked at places like near the beach. It was just too expensive for us that, like, I didn't want to spend that much money on just the venue itself. Because I know that my decor, like, I'd rather get married in the backyard and have the decor popping than have a beautiful venue with just like one flower. I mean, but it depends. I think it really depends on what you want. But that was just what we decided. Decided not to be cruel to everybody and say, pay $600 a night. That was out of the picture. And then I was like, okay, where else? So I looked at Cancun. My fiance and I have been to Cancun once, and I don't know why I did not like it. I wasn't a fan. I think it's beautiful. The beach is gorgeous. I didn't really get like a Mexico vibe, and we go to Mexico all the time. Like, both our parents are from there. I did look at places though, but Cancun is a 5-hour flight, 5.5 hours, something like that, from LA. My mom was already like worried about Cabo, and it's like 2.5 hours. So I was like, damn. Okay, so Cancun, that's a big no because of the flight. But I still looked up like the prices, like the hotel. I don't know why I was going more towards hotel, because they have like the place to stay and just like little venues that you can get married. But I didn't see anything that caught my eye, and neither did my fiance. So we're like, all right, screw it, no Cancun. On another trip, because we go like at least once a year to Puerto Vallarta, and we were like, why don't we just get married here? Like, it makes sense. It was our first trip ever, like first vacation together. It was where he proposed, and I was like, well, let's get married here too, like full circle. From there we started like, all right, as soon as we got our place that we wanted to get married, it just got so much easier, because it's like, okay, now we know where we want to do it. We let our closest family and friends know, okay, we're getting married in Puerto Vallarta. Everybody loved it. We were like, yes, so yeah, I feel like once you choose your location, or like, or you finalize your venue, whatever, it just, it feels good. It's like, okay, yeah, You know, like one step, like the main step, done. Now, just the other things that follow. Okay, so then, like I said, so as soon as we chose Puerto Vallarta, we're like, all right, cool beans. I started looking at like at all the weddings that, because it's very popular to get married over there, which I didn't even realize before, but so I was like, perfect. Instagram was my best friend. I dove in and I started seeing like all these beautiful weddings at Garza Blanca. So I was like, you know what? Let me just ask, right? So I emailed them. They got back to me like in a couple days. So one thing first is also the room thing. So apparently every hotel requires like a minimum of like percentage of your guests to stay there. They required 30 rooms per night. Garza Blanca is a lot cheaper than the hotel in Cabo, but I was like, damn, that's a lot. Like, the thing is, I don't want to depend on so many of my invites, like invited invites. What is it? So many of my guests, because it's like I'm already inviting you, like, oh, come all the way over here, and you know, pay this money, pay the flight, and now you have to stay in this hotel. I don't know, like, it just sounds rude to me, you know, like, girl, like, let me stay wherever I want. I was like, you know what, no. And I tried looking for the file right now to see like how much they were charging me for like the most simple one, like because they have like 3 different venues. It was still gonna be like 11 grand, just the venue. And I was like, nope. Like, I was like, damn, like, these hotels are expensive. So I was like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And it just made sense that the place that we stayed for our engagement was an Airbnb. And the owner of that Airbnb actually had, at that time, 4 or 5 other houses. And the padrino of the wedding, I like to call him Chicho. Well, his name is Chicho, but I call him padrino de la boda. He told us like, oh, why don't you get married in the one across he said like across the street, but it was like literally like one cliff to the other cliff. It's also an Airbnb. And I was like, at first, like, he had mentioned to us when we were in the pool, like all relaxing, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I honestly didn't really think about it, because I was like, that was like as soon as we got engaged, I was like, no, like, I have a bunch of planning to do, you know? Like, I took it with a grain of salt. That's why I'm saying, just listen to everybody's opinions or suggestions, and, you know, just be open-minded to be like, maybe not. Like, that's up to you, obviously, you and your fiance. And then we ended up looking at like more pictures of it. My fiance and I keep on saying Gus. His name is Gus, by the way. Gus. Just kidding, he hates that. So we started looking at the house, and I was like, damn, this house is big. So we were like, okay, we can make like the indoor like a hall, and then because it has like a terraza, the pool area, like the backyard-ish, whatever, it's big too. And I was like, okay. So I started visualizing it. I was like, okay. So next time we went purposely just to like scope it out. Gorgeous. It's stunning. I was like, you know, like I got butterflies, and I was like, this is it. Of course, nothing is perfect though. It has the world's ugliest yellow wall I have ever seen. It's not the ugliest. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It's not even like a mustard yellow. Like, I love mustard yellow. It's like a weird ass yellow. It's just, I hate it. But point is, it can get covered, you know. It is 10 rooms. We are having our closest family, like our immediate family, like Gus's parents, my parents, like our older uncles and aunts stay there, just because I wanted it to be convenient that they don't have to be leaving like at 10 or 11 and trying to find a taxi. Like, it just makes sense for them to stay there and then, you know, just relax and not have to worry about that. It's I think any Airbnb that you book, you have to pay an event fee. Also, depending how many guests or, you know, people you're going to be having. But it was still reasonable to us. We booked it like last year. So point is, we're going to get married May 2022. But it was just, we didn't plan with good enough time, and I was like, you know what, it feels way too rushed. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna enjoy our process of planning. So we pushed it back another year, and so here we are. So on May 2023, I'm going to be a bride. Yeah, so I'll tell you guys more about the process, but I think I've talked way too much already. So yeah, you gotta watch the other videos.